While playing Tears of the Kingdom, did you notice that all the light roots and shines have pretty much the same locations? Or that all light roots are the same name as shrines, just spelled backwards? Or maybe that the depths is just the surface map but inverted. All mountains on the surface are caverns in the depths, or all canyons on the surface are big mountains in the depths. All stable locations on the surface, aside from a few, are liminal locations in the depths. Or that all goddess statues on the surface are bargainer statues in the depths. Well, if you did happen to know these, then don't worry too much, because we have many more Easter eggs, secrets, and references to jump into with The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. But before we get into the video, make sure you all hit the subscribe button, because I make a ton of Easter eggs and secret videos on other Zelda games like Breath of the Wild, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and many others. I'm also planning on making more of these videos as well, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on those. Well, with all that being said, let's get back to the video. Did you ever notice that just about every single time that Link cooks a meal, he will hum a Zelda tune from a previous Zelda game? Here are a few examples. Do you remember where you met King Rome in Breath of the Wild? Well, let's go back to that same location and see what we find. Oh, look at that, it's the nostalgic fabric, the same design the paraglider in Breath of the Wild used. Speaking of Breath of the Wild, when speaking to certain NPCs while Link is naked, they will comment on it. One specifically is Paya. She will get embarrassed and tell you to cover yourself instantly. However, in Tears of the Kingdom, Paya won't even look at you, let alone speak to you, until you put some clothes on. Other NPCs will also make comments about how you're not wearing any clothes. But one NPC in particular, Hestu, has an interesting change from Breath of the Wild to Tears of the Kingdom. In Breath of the Wild, he got excited how someone else besides him was naked. However, in Tears of the Kingdom, he makes no comment at all about it. But that's not all. If you go to Gerudo Town and take off all of your clothes, the guards will throw you in jail. Throughout Tears of the Kingdom, you can find these Divine Beast helmets. Well, if you put one on, the corresponding sage will also wear a similar helmet. Both Zelda and Ganon's horses make a return from Breath of the Wild. As well as Epona from previous titles. The first king of Hyrule, King Rauru, actually shares the same name as the Light Sage from Ocarina of Time, Rauru. You know Link's main ability in this game, the Ultra Hand? Yeah, well, the name in itself is a reference to Nintendo's very first toy they ever created back in the 1960s. Yeah, that's right. Before Nintendo was making games, they were making toys and playing cards. If you listen closely in this cutscene, you can hear an interesting sound coming from the Master Sword. That's right, if you've ever played Skyward Sword, you would recognize this as Fi's sound. Some people speculate that Fi from Skyward Sword could still be in the Master Sword. If you happen to go to a general store that sells milk and you take a closer look at the bottle, it is the same logo as Lon Lon milk from the Nintendo 64 games. A reoccurring ability in Zelda games ever since the very first one is when Link has full hearts, he can shoot a beam of light from the Master Sword. Not many people found this, but if you complete the Yiga Clan quest, then you will be rewarded with an Earthquake Manual, which gives Link a new ability to use. All throughout the game, Link is searching for Zelda, and while completing the main quest, you tend to catch glimpses of her here and there. But did you know of these secret instances? During the Dueling Peaks side quest with Pen mentions how the Yiga clan has kidnapped Princess Zelda and they're holding her hostage at the top of Dueling Peaks. Well, when you go there and free Princess Zelda, it turns out that it was actually just a Yiga clan member disguising themselves as her. And after obtaining all of the Yiga clan armor, you can return to the same cave where you first met the old man from Breath of the Wild. And here you can find Princess Zelda again. Talk to her while wearing the Yiga clan armor and she will say something funny. But if you take off the armor and talk to her, well, she will turn into a Yiga clan member and attack you. While playing through Tears of the Kingdom, you may have wondered to yourself, where are the Guardians from Breath of the Wild? Well, it seems as most of them have been repurposed for the Skyview Towers. However, did you know that there is still one out there in the wild? Well, kind of. If you take a look at the top of Hiteno's ancient tech lab, you can find the only full-body Guardian in the game. In Tears of the Kingdom, we have these new cherry blossom trees, and at each tree, if we drop any type of fruit in this little holder, a majestic creature will show you all of the cave locations in that area. But this creature is called a Satori, which even from Breath of the Wild, many people believed that the Satori could be a reference to Satoru Iwata, the former president of Nintendo, who passed away. Seeing as how the names are so similar to each other, I don't think this one's too far off. With Zelda games, it is a known rule that you do not mess with the chickens or the cuckoos because, well, this will happen. This has been an ongoing reference since A Link to the Past. Speaking of attacking NPCs, if you attack some of these NPCs who you have saved from monsters, they will eventually fight back and push you away. After completing all of Pen's quests, the Lucky Clover will tell you that Pen has left to go do some training at Wash's Bluff, and that he mentioned something about a famous bard. Well, if you go to Washa Bluff and talk to Penn, he has this to say. That's right, he references Cass from Breath of the Wild. When coming across these rock puzzles for Koroks, did you know that if you look in the direction of the missing rock, you can easily find the rocks instead of mindlessly searching around? When placing a map marker, if you translate the Hylian text to English, it says, "It's dangerous to go alone." A reference to the very first Zelda game with the old man in the cave that says, "It's dangerous to go alone, take this," and hands you a sword. So, does anyone remember the crazy flower lady from Breath of the Wild? Well, yeah, she's back. And this time, well, she's not as crazy about the flowers, but she is still pretty obsessed with them. And speaking of the crazy flower lady, did you know that if you visit Link's house in the Hiteno village, you can find a picture of her as well as Zelda's horse on the walls? Also, if you happen to have save data from Breath of the Wild's Champions Ballad DLC, you can find a picture of Zelda, Link, and all the champions. And if we read Zelda's diary, she mentions how she has a secret study. If we go into the well that's nearby the house, we can find Zelda's secret chambers and a headband that changes Link's hair back into his Breath of the Wild style. But what if you want to look even more like Breath of the Wild Link? Well, you can. By going into the depths and collecting 400 Poes, you can get the Runic of Memories, which is the champion's tunic from Breath of the Wild. But that's not all that Tears of the Kingdom has to offer. There are many more outfits in this game that reference other Zelda titles, like the Fierce Deity armor, Skyward Sword armor, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and many others. Going along with the clothes, however, is many weapons from the previous Zelda games, like the Big Goron Sword, the White Sword of the Sky, the Boomerang of the Wind, and many others. And lastly, there are so many other reoccurring Easter eggs in this game that came from Breath of the Wild, such as all the different landmarks referencing other Zelda games, music from previous Zelda games that play in specific locations, and many others. I would honestly just suggest watching my Breath of the Wild Easter eggs and secrets video, as within that video I go over all of these in much greater detail. Well, that's about all I got for you guys today. If I happen to miss any secrets or Easter eggs, please let me know down below in the comments so that I can do an updated version of this video in the future. Oh, and if you happen to like this video, don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button. Well, with all that being said, I hope you guys all have a wonderful day today.